Hello out there in cryptocurrency land. Welcome back to Real Crypto. Been a pretty interesting day today for a Friday. I actually live streamed twice today if you guys didn't catch that. And on one of those live streams, the second one in the afternoon, we actually had a very rare opportunity, which we've only really had one other time in the live stream, to watch a huge run up in Aion. We watched this thing run. It was up 20% to when it was up 75%. We had one of our traders in the chat room actually live trading this. We first noticed it right about the 210 level here, and I was saying it was looking toppy, and then we dove down to the 1 minute chart. I'm like, I don't think this is very toppy. So go ahead and watch that last live stream, probably about halfway through, I would say, and just look for the Aion chart if you're scrolling through the video. Don't watch the whole thing. Most of it's kind of boring. It is a live stream, so you do get a little bit of everything, but yeah, we watched this thing run all the way up here. I actually recommended taking profits right up in this area at the 240, 245 level. And it actually went much higher than that, up into the looks like 284 level, 283 level. So quite spectacular. And for those of you that were in the live stream, I mentioned an ascending base, and I never really got to explain what that is, and I apologize for that. So let me do that real quick right now. An ascending base is something that you really don't see very often, let alone in cryptocurrencies. But I have seen a few here. And what an ascending base is when you have three distinct bases. So it runs up, you have three distinct small bases. Let me reiterate that, small bases. So we run up out of this kind of a cup with handle pattern, and then we break out. We have base number 1, base number 2, and then base number 3, and then we break out from there, from the third base. I didn't realize it at that moment in time until it broke out that it was an ascending base, because they're pretty rare. They don't happen very often. It doesn't mean that they're more powerful. They're just kind of a tricky base. So you see the three levels, and the key about this is that the bottom of the next base doesn't undercut into the top of the previous base. So I know it kind of does that here, but it did close above the top here. So I would consider this an actual viable ascending base. And anyway, if I would have seen it in those patterns, I probably wouldn't have mentioned for that gentleman to go ahead and sell up here. But you know what? He got a nice little profit out of it in like 5 minutes, he said. So anyway, a good trade is a good trade. A profitable trade is a good trade. So where do we go from here in Aion? Well, right now we're flattening out kind of in a nice level. We see some nice volume spikes happening here. So we're just gonna watch it. If we back out to the 4-hour chart on Aion, we see here this coin has quite some history to it, and it's had a couple of moves, but this has been one of the more spectacular ones. So who knows, it may retrace all the way back down into this 160, 180 area. It's a little hard to tell at this moment in time, but you know, worth keeping an eye on. All these coins that run tend to have type of similar moves, and you know, they'll have one or two good pops in them for 20, 30%. So this one was up 75%. Really fun in the live chat. At least I was having fun. I know I was having fun. But overall, let's take a look at the markets. Let's look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, kind of, we talked about just breaking down from this rising channel that it was in here. It just broke down, and we're still not into new highs. We do kind of have a bit of a double bottom base happening here. So let me kind of show you what the double bottom base kind of looks like. So the double bottom base is a V, kind of like this pattern, with a lower low. This is an actual viable double bottom with a lower low. That's actually preferred just to shake out some weak holders, and then it shoots back up, and your actual buy point is right over here across the middle of the two lows. That's your proper buy point. And we came back and we tested that so far successfully. Looks like Bitcoin looking pretty good so far. You see this nice red spike on the volume, but if you notice, that's really the extreme test of the breakout. So that's technically a bottoming bar at this moment in time, which is actually bullish. And so we'll see if we can get some upward momentum here. Looks like we could over the weekend, but the past couple of weekends have been kind of lazy. So maybe we chop around sideways. Ethereum finally decided to wake up. Ethereum woke up finally and did something. Don't quite know what catalyst that was, but it's really nice to see it doing something. So we had a bit of a declining trend line happening here with a double bottom formation right here, and then we broke out on some pretty decent volume. We had two highs right here, which I was getting a little worried that these were selling action, even though the price was holding up. So anyway, we've since gone higher from there. We've since gone higher and kind of negated that negative action. This is actually negative action. And then boom, we've just gone higher. So that's really good for Ethereum. Hopefully over the weekend, Bitcoin and Ethereum can go a little bit higher. We really need that momentum to come back in. Otherwise, this bull move just feels really long in the tooth. Let's take a look at our buddy Ripple, who had a very nice run out of this symmetrical triangle. If you caught me on Twitter, my handle's @RealCryptoTrade. I don't post all the time, but when I do tweet, I tend to have some pretty good things to say, at least I think. So this has had a nice run up. It's since consolidating up here at this around the 24 level. A very nice high level consolidation. Personally, I would love to see it continue to consolidate right about here, but you know, there's obviously every opportunity it could go lower and consolidate a little bit wider, kind of like we have in this symmetrical triangle. So we'll have to see what it does over the weekend. It's going to be an interesting weekend overall. Let's take a look at NEO, see what NEO's been doing. So we've been talking about a head and shoulders in NEO. We thought this was a head and shoulders, with this being the left shoulder, this being the right shoulder, and obviously this being the head. That appeared to try to break down and actually validate that pattern. It has since invalidated that pattern, but we've pulled up into another possible head and shoulders. Man, some of these cryptos have very interesting chart patterns. Seems like a much more viable head and shoulders, though, in my book. And that would put the downside target somewhere here at 1975, 1930, or I'm sorry, 1935. To be honest with you, though, that does not seem very likely. NEO's a very strong coin. We're technically back into an uptrend. So I don't really think a pullback all the way to here is in the cards, but that's kind of what the pattern implies. If we do break down, this neckline here is going to kind of be the telltale point of if this pattern actually comes to fruition. If it does break, yeah, I still don't think we quite get down here, but only time will tell. You know what opinions mean, and they mean nothing. It's pretty much all about the charts. Pretty much all about the charts. Okay, so what else is going on here? Qtum. We've been looking at Qtum. So Qtum had an inverted head and shoulders pattern here that has since broken out and kind of formed into the symmetrical triangle. Really nothing came out of it. We looked at this volume and I was very impressed with the volume. I actually had a position in Qtum and then I got stopped out of it down here, and it since just proceeded to chop around. Typically in a situation like this, I will put an alert above the last high, so this area. Before it was above this area, now it's above this area, just to kind of see what happens. If Qtum gets down towards this low of this trend line here, maybe you can put an alert down here to try to take a trade to the upside, or maybe that could be your entry if this does proceed higher. But there's still always the case that this just chops sideways or just drifts lower. So that's why it's really hard to try to buy these bottoms, and it can kind of be a very, very frustrating game to play. So that's kind of it about Qtum. So overall, the market not looking too bad. We're getting some bullish signs for sure. Ripple actually popping is very positive. Ethereum starting to gain a little bit of traction with a little bit of volume. Not too much, though. I would like to see more volume coming into Ethereum. And then Bitcoin, Bitcoin with a little double bottom, base up here. Maybe we can break out of this and go into maybe a rush towards 5,000. You know, that's definitely in the works. We do have to get through the 47 level, 4650 level before we can do that. So maybe this is our next stop on Bitcoin. But let's just take a look. If that is the case, that's a 6 or 7% rally, and then into the 5,000 all-time high, we're looking at about a 13% rally in Bitcoin. So there you go. It's going to be an interesting weekend. Hopefully we get some action. It's not too slow. I will be home this weekend trading, at least looking at the charts with my alerts available, and I will be available to take position. So I'm hoping to do a little bit of something this weekend. Kind of feel a little froggy. I'm getting back to my old self. Kind of had fun with camping, and yeah, let's get some trading happening here. So all right, guys, there you go. Kind of a bullish market, not really a bull market, but a bullish market. Make sure you're in proper coins. Make sure you're in coins that are showing you trades. And like I said, I've been saying this on the live stream and on Twitter, a proper trade should hit you in the face. You shouldn't have to go looking for it. So if you're looking for trades, guys, look elsewhere and look for something that looks really nice, this is a pretty nice trade in Bitcoin off this double bottom. I kind of really like this here. Again, your possible upside is 13%, so not a lot to write home about, but at the same time, you're not going to take a lot of risk on a trade like this, but wait for it to break out. Always wait for it to break out before you take a position. All right, guys, so there you go. Thank you for joining me on Real Crypto today. Subscribe if you like the channel, and if you like the video, hit that like button. YouTube likes that a lot, and I appreciate it as well. So have a good weekend, everyone. We will talk to you later.